I think the big issue that we were talking about today was really this question of linkages to social movements, linkages to a base, to the energy of social movements, to the moral outrage of social movements, and the tools that they bring, which are mobilizing people, getting people out onto the streets, harnessing a kind of moral anger and indignation. And so human rights organizations are often very professional, sometimes a lot of lawyers, journalists, et cetera, and one of the questions is how you make that linkage. So that was one of the interesting questions that was discussed, and I think it's difficult because on the one hand, I think these kinds of professional NGOs are very important. They bring professionalism, they bring research skills, they can connect with governments, they can advocate with governments, they can change policy, they can write policy. So all of that is very positive, and the grassroots organizations often can't do that. On the other hand, they tend to get more money, they tend to become very professional, they tend to get maybe somewhat disconnected from some of that. So that linkage, I think, was a core question today. And we didn't solve anything, but I think what came out of this was just a reinforcement of the fact that's really important to think about those different kinds of connections. This idea of global south, global north, and who's setting the agenda and how that agenda gets set. And when I say the agenda, I mean the human rights agenda, priorities for the human rights movement, whether or not we're going to have responsibility to protect as a major area or right to housing as a major area, and how those kinds of discussions get set in a kind of international, in an international movement. And I think that one of the most exciting things about tonight was that it was convened by Connect Us. It wasn't convened by Ford. It wasn't convened by Human Rights Watch. Ford and Human Rights Watch were invited to this, but it was convened by Connect Us. And the agenda was set by Connect Us, the questions were set by Connect Us, and the journal has its 20th edition, which is amazing. So that was a very exciting part about tonight, I think.